It's Tuesday, May 7th, Wednesday, May 8th, if you're on the East Coast, across the pond, or down under. And this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North, on top of the mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Deep Talk Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, but you're going to have to wait because we're currently under construction, building our website bigger and better by your demand. Tonight's show is brought to you by the YouTube channel in Suho. Sebastian Martin brings high-quality messages to the masses. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel today. The first Tuesday of the month, we are joined by Geraldine Orozco from Bay Area Meditation in San Francisco, California, for the Spiritual You. She's become quite a friend of this show over the last couple of years, and tonight, with Geraldine, we're taking a little bit of a different turn. Geraldine is part of the second part of the extraordinary documentary series called The Seeding. It's about women who've been used as vessels for implantation and hybridization programs by aliens. It's not for the weak of heart, that's for sure. And joining us with Geraldine is John Sumple, the director of The Seeding. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Geraldine Orozco, good friend of this show, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much once again for that warm welcome, and it's always such a pleasure to be here, Dave. Thank you.
Well, you know we love having you on this show, and our audience does too, because we get to see the numbers. And the numbers are always very high. So we appreciate you taking the time once a month to join us to talk about this. Now, Geraldine, normally we go into some sort of different spiritual connection that we have, but tonight we're getting a little bit personal with you, which I think is going to be absolutely fantastic because you've gone into tidbits about your own experiences with extraterrestrials on this show. But tonight we're going to get to the heart of the matter because you are one of the people who has really been focused on in the second part of the extraordinary documentary series, this one called The Seeding. How did you get involved with this?
Yes, thank you. It was, a very interesting way that things kind of just developed, and it really just happened very organically. I mean, when I first started talking about this in 2017 after I had my regressions, everything kind of, it was quite an awakening, quite an eye-opening experience to have undergone these very deep regression sessions and having to relive basically all of the experiences that I had not known about. All my life I had actually been a lifelong abductee. And what was interesting about that is that, looking back and reviewing all these regressions, there were so many things that occurred in my life that were linked to these experiences that were just mind-blowing. And so, based on those experiences, my thoughts were, how many men and women are dealing with this? And, it's definitely something that we have to talk about. So here in the Bay Area, I connected with MUFON, and it was through MUFON here in the Sonoma County that I actually began to speak of it for the very first time publicly. And I believe it's through that, through speaking my own experience and sharing it with everyone, with the world, that Lori Wagner, the producer of the film, found out about my story and invited me to be included in this amazing film. And of course, I couldn't turn down such an important piece of work that is going to focus and talk about this very important topic that not many people are talking about, And so having the opportunity to even be able to share my experiences on such a very intimate level has been, it's been very interesting. It's been something that took a lot of, kind of strength to kind of get out there and be very clear and open about those experiences. But for me, my main focus is that as many people as possible can understand how this process works and what happens, the side effects, the effects, how it affects our lives. This is something that's so real, David. You and I both know that, as experiencers. So it's just been a wild ride, and it's been a great, great honor to be a part of this film. And we're going to talk to John about, the behind the scenes of it and everything. But that's how it started for me.
John Sumple, we appreciate you taking time to come out on this show. You are the director of the seating. And I have to say, I watched your documentary on Stan Romanek that came out a couple of years ago. And I was very impressed with your work, the professionalism that you guys did. It looked fantastic. It wasn't a bunch of all the same faces that we're used to seeing on documentaries when it comes to UFOs. Not that there's anything wrong with those people, but every now and again you want a little bit of a change. John, before we get too much into the seating, let's our audience learn a little bit about you. What attracted you to filming stories about UFOs, aliens, and this entire conspiracy?
Well, it's interesting because if you asked me 10 years ago if I would be doing this, I would have probably laughed. But one of my production partners and partner in J3 Films, Jack Roth, came to me, it was back in 2008-ish, with an idea he had for a documentary film traveling throughout New Mexico. And he asked if I would be interested in basically manning the camera and being the shooter for that. And during that journey of developing that project, he was introduced to Stan Romanek's story through Alejandro Rojas and Chuck Zukowski when he was at an event out in Denver, Colorado, and I think it was the spring of 2009. And he called me up on the phone one night and said, I got a story that we need to look into. We'll put this other one on hold. He started sharing information with me about it. And I am not one, I wouldn't say that I was a deep dive into the rabbit hole of ufology at that point. But once I started learning a little bit more about Stan's story, I had no choice but to really roll up my sleeves and dive in. So, that kind of whet the appetite to get involved with this. And as we started to learn more and more about Stan's story, it became very apparent to me that there was a story to be told, but from a little bit of a different perspective. Our approach really is more from a humanistic point of view rather than the phenomena. So much that's out there right now is phenomena-driven. We wanted to take the approach to help people better understand the impact of the individuals who've been through the experience. So that's really how I kind of got pulled into it.
I want to ask you one question about Stan Romanek, because right when that documentary came out, he ended up going to jail on accusations of some very serious crimes. And at any point, how hard was that for you guys to all of a sudden say, we got to run this anyways on Netflix?
Well, it's an interesting story. I think a lot of people are a little bit confused about the timeline. And once we have a chance to tell it, it makes a little bit more sense. We shot that film in 2011, 2012, and we were preparing for the release of the film in the fall of 2013, winter of 2014. And we premiered at a film festival in Fort Lauderdale in 2013. We were in the process of talking to distributor connections through people that we know in LA to get a wide release for the film. And then all this stuff happened with Stan. We knew nothing about it. We had no idea. We were, needless to say, very disappointed, frustrated, and a little bit upset that something like this that Stan had known about was a potential possibility several months earlier, but never said a word to us, and rightfully so, because his attorney told him, why would you tell anybody that this is a potential issue if it never happens, if it never goes forward? So don't even bring it up. So I understand it from that point of view, but the timing couldn't have been worse for us. So several people told us your best bet is to recut the film and focus more on the story of what has happened to him recently, but we wanted to stick true to the story, which was what had happened to him up through 2010 was really the story about his contact experiences. So we went through the self-distribution route and distributed the film through altpov.tv, a website that we developed solely for the purpose of getting content out within that genre. and launched the film that way. It wasn't until 3 years later, out of the blue, we get a phone call from the Orchard saying that they wanted to rep the film. They were shocked that a film like that had not gotten picked up anywhere else. And a long story short, within a matter of 2 to 3 months, we went from wondering if we'd ever make a penny on the film to pay back the people who'd lent us money to make it, to having a relationship with the Orchard and eventually getting it onto Netflix. We never thought that was going to happen. It was a total, in my opinion, stroke of luck that the Orchard found the film. They loved all of the evidence that was in it and said that it would resonate with audiences, and it did. But the timing of it couldn't have been worse because of what had happened with Stan.
You are an award-winning director, and with that popularity of the Stan Romanek film, especially, I got to see it up here in Canada on Netflix, and I was just enthralled with it, absolutely enthralled. But now that you have that connection and people want more, how did it lead into the seeding?
Well, it really was a response to that film. So we had a Facebook page for the film specific to the Stan Romanek story. And we started getting, after the film was released on Netflix, we started getting responses from hundreds of people, not dozens, hundreds of people saying, thank you so much for making this film. Now I realize I'm not alone. The impact was profound because I've had similar experiences. So those things started coming in over and over and over. So we realized that there were people who were being affected by the storytelling because it was told from a humanistic perspective rather than a phenomena point of view. So our intent was always to make films that would be emotional, that would connect with people on a completely different level, not just the gee whiz, there's shiny metal objects in the sky type of thing, but more about, wow, what does it mean to be an experiencer? I may not have had that, but is this really what somebody who's had this happen to them? This is what they go through? This is what they feel? This is the impact on their lives? That's the story that we wanted to start telling. And we had conversations with different people over the course of working on the film with Stan, and one of the stories that percolated was Sierra Deblina's story about unexplained pregnancies. So we met her back in 2011. She shared her story with us, and that's something that resonated with Jack and I in particular, that we wanted to do something about this. And with the luck was that we got this connection with the Orchard, and we had a pitch meeting with them in November of 2018, and we pitched the idea of taking Stan's story and turning it into, not Stan's story, but the concept of the story of abduction leading to hybrid children, leading to hybridization programs, unexplained pregnancies, leading to the historical perspective, the different paradigms that people believe, and then the government perspective, and why this is all happening, and what is the end game. So, we put an arc together over 3 stories, pitched it to the Orchard. They loved it and said, let's go. So we were off and running from that point on, and it was a matter of, there's plenty of stories to tell, and we have continued to find that out. Every day we receive some sort of contact from somebody who has their story that they want to share, and it makes us realize that the way that we're telling the stories is resonating a little bit differently than just the ones that are about the phenomena.
When you decided to get into the seeding, did you expect the reaction that you got from it? The reaction has been extremely positive so far. For the people that have seen the film at festivals, there have been a couple of people we've screened it for, in influencers, and the response has been overwhelmingly positive, and primarily because several people have said, you flipped the script. Usually it's, the experts talking about the phenomena with very little emphasis on the experiencer. And you guys are talking more about the experiencer and what they've gone through, what their emotional journey has been, and with the experts to kind of support those stories. So it's something we think really hasn't been done in the genre. And as a result of that, it's received a very positive response. So we know there's opportunities to do more stories within this, the ufology world and the unexplained mysteries world, and the individual human, the struggle for the
to survive. That's really what these stories are about, is how these people get through their experiences.
Geraldine Orozco and John Sumple are our guests tonight on the Spiritual You on Spaced Out Radio. Geraldine, I want to bring you in here for a moment, because when you get approached to do a film like this in regards to something so darn personal, what was your first reaction, and why did you feel you wanted to do it?
That's a really great question, and I really had to think about it, Dave, because, the topics that we're covering are something that are so intimate. I mean, we're talking about, carriages, menstruation cycles, and processes that were extremely emotional throughout my life. And, opening those things up to the public, really leaves you kind of open to all of this information, to commentary again. And but for me, my awakening has been so profound and so, I guess you can say, abrupt in a way, that over the past 2 years, in 2017, it was after the Regressions, just a complete ripping of the veil for me. And, reality hits, and it took a moment to sink in, and once it did, I understood very, very clearly the importance of talking about these things. And it was beyond me. It's beside me. It's not so much about, my emotional struggles through it, but the process of healing by even sharing these experiences is so incredibly important for all of us as a human race, and even more so as a society, as a community, as consciousness, to understand our place and the role that we play in this, in this world, in this reality that we share. And for me, the importance was, to share the facts of everything that had occurred to me, and the hope that whoever is experiencing something like that will resonate, will be able to recognize themselves in it, will be able to heal through understanding that they're not the only one, and understand further how this is occurring in our world. And as you know, Dave, and as we've talked about in other shows, I mean, there is a whole history here of information that is incredibly important for our understanding of history of everything. So, for me, it was kind of a no-brainer. I mean, when the opportunity arose, it was like, absolutely, yes, this is very much in alignment with what my mission is, or, my focus, which is to, raise awareness of something that is really happening amongst us. And how is it possible that we're not talking about it? We're talking about thousands of men and women. I mean, 4 million Americans claim alien abduction. And from that, 31%, they claim that they have been a part of this hybridization program. So if those are the numbers, why aren't we talking about such an important topic? And so, for me, it was just very simple. Yes, absolutely, let's do this. And I guess I didn't, it goes beyond me. It's something more important than just my own thoughts of myself. So, yeah.
At any time, did the film crew say, if you're uncomfortable with this, you don't have to talk about it? Did you hold back at all, Geraldine?
Yeah. No, they were always, very, very accommodating and very considerate of my feelings and my emotions throughout the filming. And, I've gone through different levels of awakening since then and now. And my answer is always 100% honest, 100% authentic. Don't hold back. And that's my message to everyone, not just myself. I really, truly try to walk my walk and talk my talk, so that as an example for others that are experiencing this, because we can only understand what's happening by being 100% authentic. And I really, truly believe that. So there was no holding back with anything. And I guess that's what makes the film what it is now.
John, we have about 3 minutes before we got to go to break here. And I want to ask you, when you started looking for people to interview regarding the seating, how did you go about finding the right people, telling the right truths, the right stories about their experiences, and how many actually denied your request because they didn't want, in maybe their mind, the embarrassment of sharing this traumatic moment or moments on film?
Well, it was one of the things that we wanted to do is bring people's stories that hadn't been told before. So there are people out there who have been at different events and have shared their story over, many years, and people who've been involved in different shows on television and documentary films. And we wanted to find, for lack of a better term, new blood, people who the audience might not be familiar with. So part of that process was connecting with the people that we knew. We had connections with a lot of people within the industry based on working on the first project, and people that we've met over the last 10, 15 years who's helped shake the trees for us to kind of find people. Lori Wagner reached out to Lori and Fenton. Lori and Fenton recommended Geraldine. We had a screening call with her to better understand her story. And, there's some criteria that we have to go through is that, does the person sound credible? Is their story something that would be interesting to an audience if they were going to be interviewed for several hours to get the best nuggets of their story? And we went through about 30 people that we made phone calls to, and several of them stepped aside because they did not want to be exposed, so to speak. They were afraid that what that impact would be on them as an individual, on their relationships with people in their family, as well as with their children. So there's a handful of people that stepped away. But we eventually, the best stories were the ones that we considered as to be the most important, because our goal was to reach, one of our goals as J3 Films is to reach the widest audience possible. Instead of catering to the fringe that already believes, our goal was to bring the conversation to the masses. So in order to do that, we had to have people who sounded credible and people who had very compelling stories to tell.
I wouldn't want that job, John. I wouldn't want that job because you're
very time-consuming.
You're dealing with a lot of sensitive topics when you're dealing and defining with, not only male or female, but male sexuality that shouldn't be happening on this planet whatsoever. Sure. But we're going to get more into that as we continue on here on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to step out for our first break of the night. Geraldine Orozco's The Spiritual You happens the first Tuesday of every month. Of course, you could check out her websites, bayareameditation.com and GeraldineOrozco.com. You can also check out j3films.com for Extraordinary, The Seating. John Sumple, the director of that documentary, is here with us tonight as well. More about alien visitation right after this.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is spaced out radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for tuning us in. Remember, if you've missed a portion of this show or others, you can always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, currently under construction. We're rebuilding it all for you. We're making it bigger and better because of your demand, so stay tuned. We're a couple weeks away from relaunch, but it's going to look damn fine. Tonight, it's The Spiritual You with Geraldine Orozco from BayAreaMeditation.com in San Francisco, California. She comes in the first Tuesday of every month, and we're talking about a new documentary film that she is involved with called Extraordinary, The Seeding. We also have the director of that film on, John Sumple. Geraldine, John, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Looking forward to the second half hour.
Geraldine, I want to start with you here, all right? Because when you get this phone call and say, hey, I want to be a part of this film, or we would like you to be a part of this film, the emotions that you go through because you're going to relive all of these experiences has to be difficult. But did you get to meet a lot of the other cast members who were telling their stories as well? And how was that comforting for you if you did?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's such an important question. And I have to say, for me, the journey has been pretty intense. As I was mentioning, through the regressions, having to relive those experiences was really the most interesting aspect of it, because it allowed me to kind of have an overview of, the process of the hybridization program, but also understanding perhaps an understanding of actual the role that humankind plays within a program such as the hybridization program. And then maybe we're talking about consciousness on that level. And I guess being able to have kind of a view of what mankind is, and also, because of my abilities of seeing the multidimensional body, helped me understand a little bit more how the body processes trauma, how the body processes emotions. And I think that was such a tremendous gift for me to allow me to comprehend how the impact of such experiences can be on people, on their everyday lives. It's quite a paradigm shifting, really shattering experience, that occurred to me in 2013 when I had my first abduction, my first conscious abduction. And but what was incredible about this is that even though I had processed a lot of these things emotionally, when I went to a support group for the very first time with Nisha Johnston, she hosts experiencer support groups, and I heard other people sharing these things, it was such an incredible recognition of things that I have gone through, maybe little details, just hearing their experiences. And even more so, I hadn't met any of the other cast that were a part of the film up until we were shooting in Los Angeles together. And, when I met them, all of them had such unique experiences, but listening to their experiences was just incredible. And we noticed right there in the table, as we are filming, as we are sharing these experiences, and I believe that they separated us on purpose so that we would be, very listening to all of these things organically and kind of relating to them. And it was incredible, the experience. of recognizing experiences that we have shared, emotions, processes, trying to understand, comprehend, integrate all of the experiences that have occurred. That was a very important part of my own healing for myself, my integration through this. And I say healing with caution. I don't mean to say that it was something that was, harmful to me in a sense. But when you are, coming into an understanding of a reality, of a new way of looking at life, of consciousness, of the human race, everything has to shift. Everything has to shift emotionally, your perspective on how you look at things, how you feel about things. So that is a process that it takes time to kind of work through. And I think hearing other people's experiences really allows you to recognize within yourself how you feel about these experiences. And, it almost makes it like, okay, it's okay for me to feel a certain way. It's okay for me to, understand and experience these things, the aftermath of contact. So it's a very big thing, and it's something that again, is one of the reasons why I signed up to do this. So that's how it was for me.
John Sumple, we bring you in here now in regards to this. This film has won numerous awards at different film festivals across the United States. Why do you think this film is starting to have so much success in the festival region and awards region before it's even hit the public eye for consumption?
I think it's the emotional connection. I think that, one, it's the quality of the film. You had mentioned that you enjoyed the first film. The second film raises the bar significantly from a production values perspective. So we brought in the first film was more of a guerrilla effort with people who knew enough to be dangerous with gear in the shooting process and also in the editing process. But the second film was more of a commitment to a higher bar of quality. So we knew that we had a much better looking film and a more consistent, cohesive film than we did the first time around. So that's a big part of it. And I think there's just really nothing else like this out there. And I think some of the festivals that we've made it into so far, we've been accepted into 6 and won a couple of awards. And we hope to get into a few more between now and September 3rd when the film is released on digital platforms. But it really, I feel that it is the emotional connection. It's hearing the individuals tell their story, but it's also the plea for those who haven't had the experiences to show compassion and have empathy for someone who's been through something that you can't quite understand. They still have been through something traumatic, so lend an ear, lend a shoulder, give someone a hug, support them through this process. Even if you don't understand it, what can you do to be there for someone who's been through something like this?
Geraldine, with people knowing that you have been involved with the seeding and are a major character in this film, what has been the reaction from the UFO and ET abduction community regarding you being a part of it? Has it been quite positive? Have people said you're nuts for even thinking about doing this and letting the public, know exactly what you're all about? Tell me about it.
Well, no, for me, actually, the wonderful thing about this community is that they're very supportive, I found. And, I have a very small circle of wonderful people that I've been able to, and the support has been, astonishing for me, because really I think when you come into something of this level, you don't really understand the impact that it can have until it's out, until, you actually see a screen and notice the effect that it has and the impact that it helps other people process through. And but what I have found is that in this field, people are very focused on getting this information out, and it's been wonderful. They've been very supportive and very loving, and what I hear a lot is people say that I'm, brave to be able to do that. And it's funny, I don't really look at it that way. I feel like my perspective is that, if you are consciously experiencing contact, it's for a reason. You are remembering and you're recalling these things for a reason. It's a call to your higher self to process experiences, which help you go higher in an understanding of reality, of consciousness, of all of these things. And so for me, my perspective is that in a sense it's a gift. It's a gift to be able to have one more aspect of our humanity to be able to transcend, to be able to process. And I feel that when people go through these experiences, they have that opportunity to take a look at that, to see if we can merge these dimensions of reality, and help us through our very limited human perspective at times of our reality. So I have felt nothing but a lot of support from our community, and I am very grateful for that, and I think it's been a gift, a true gift.
John, how did you go about selecting the people involved in this film? What were the aspects that you had to go through in the seeding to pick the cast?
Well, the first part of it was reaching out to our network within the ufology world and asking them, who do they know whose story hasn't necessarily been told before, whose story is new enough that it's going to be something that people who are familiar with the ufology and abduction stories that are out there would be like, wow, this is something I've never heard before. This is a perspective I've never heard before. So that process started in the fall of 2017, and we had whittled it down to around, I said 30 names earlier, it's probably closer to 25, and we started doing some initial screening calls to qualify them further, and whittled that down before we had phone calls where Jack Roth and I would get on the phone and talk to these individuals. And we scheduled it was pretty much every night for almost a month, talking to both the experiencers and the experts to find out who would be the best fit for the film. And one of the things that we definitely were looking for was the ability to tell their story clearly, and to have a personality in how they shared what happened with them, so it didn't come across as something that would be not necessarily boring, but just would be a little bit distracting if it wasn't a compelling story or told in a compelling way. So that was a very important part of it. Was, when you're making a film, you have to be thinking about the audience. And we knew that we wanted to entertain and enlighten the audience. That was very important for us. So we wanted to make sure that we focused on stories that would allow us to tell a very compelling story. So that was a big part of it. In the screening process, as we got it down to the final few, there were the three primary people that we have in here. The three newer people that we had in there were Geraldine, Robert Fullington, and April Malloy, and their stories are very different. Their personalities are very different. The impact is very different on the three individual people. Geraldine went through a transformative process and has come out the other side, and I need to help people get through what I've been through. Robert Fullington has gone through something that he still struggles with because he doesn't quite understand how it all works, how it all fits in. He knows something has happened to him that's profound, but he still struggles with it. And April is more of the kind of innocent, naive, for lack of a better word, that this is all happening and I don't know why, but I'm grateful that, one of the byproducts of this was my son, and she's convicted, and how she shares that story, that her son is not necessarily a hybrid, but there was intervention to help. I do believe he's a hybrid. I think she believes he's a hybrid. That there was intervention to help her have a pregnancy and have this child after trying for a couple of years and having several miscarriages, and that there was an intervention. So you have three very, very different stories. And that we knew once we talked to these three. I think I talked with Geraldine 2 separate occasions, maybe 3, before we had the call with her to say, yeah, we're good to go. But the first call was very interesting. I'll share a little bit about Geraldine's story. When she was nervous on the first call, and it was the most compelling thing to me as she shared all of this is that we're talking to her in, I think it was December, the first time we talked to her, 2017, and her transformation through the 2 regressions that she had in January and February earlier that year this is all new. This is all new information, and she had embraced it with this passion of my mission is now to help people. I know what I'm supposed to do. And my one thing that I kind of joked around with her is that I wish I knew you before 2013, just to see the personality that was Geraldine Orozco before that happened, and everything that led up to the regressions and how it changed her. Now, for somebody to walk away from an engagement and walk away from a career, a lucrative career, and say this is more important than those things, that's profound. And that to me was the most compelling part of her story, that from an audience perspective was, why would somebody do that unless something happened to them that drove them to do that? Nobody would walk away from a relationship and walk away from a career unless they felt there was a reason to do it, and that reason was so strong that it was driving their actions on a daily basis. So it was very interesting to see the Geraldine that we spoke to back then versus the Geraldine today. And through the course of our first conversation, through the interviews that we did, through the film coming out to today, Geraldine has blossomed both in the public eye and I think as a confident carrier of her story and her mission to help other people get through an awareness process that is very, very different than what we believe is the reality of the world. And that's a part of the thing with her. When we did the interview with her, it blew our minds. It really did. We did not expect this level of intelligence, and that's no offense, Geraldine, but it was so, the intellectual elements of this and what she shared during one of the breaks, 2 or 3 of the people that were on the crew, we were looking at each other going like, what the F did we stumble upon here? It was we just had no idea that we were going to be getting this level of metaphysical and understanding of the universe and our role in it. It just was not something that we had anticipated. And it's a whole nother film to do Geraldine's story and do it well. But it was that process of getting to know these individuals and getting to know their stories to find out how they would, fit together was a very, very important part of the journey, and finding the people, getting to know the people, interviewing the people, and then determining what were the best stories to pull together to tell the best emotional story that would get people to better understand that this is happening to people just like you. It's not necessarily the strangers in backwoods of any city, state, country. It's real people having real experiences.
We got about 3 minutes before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. Geraldine Orozco, we bring you in here to talk about this. When you decided that you were going to do this film, what were your concerns, and how did people like John really calm you down?
Yeah, and I'm so thankful to John for those words. And it's a reminder how this all started as well. And I do remember that, when I was nervous. The reason why is because for me, having seen his previous film, it was very well done, better than any other film I've seen on Contact, on this kind of, as an experiencer. My concern was, what were people going to take away from? And, always wanting to make sure that if I was represented in this film, or if I was a part of this film, that it would always be very authentic, very real, and to service to others, not just for the purpose of merely just entertainment or more educational, more as a question to help people really go into themselves and really question what is actually happening in our reality. And that was my main concern, if any, up to something like this. And I think it connect with John and his team because of the level of awareness that they have on the importance of education and raising awareness on such an important and delicate topic. So I was grateful, and it seemed as if it was something that was very much in alignment. Other than that whatever message is being portrayed, that I would be portraying from my experience, or April or Rob or all of the other wonderful, important parts of the film and the participants in their stories, were in the light of authenticity, of truth, and serious, not just some film that was just going to be, joked about or played around with. It was something very serious, and they have done such a beautiful job in producing and making a film that deserves attention. So that, my worries are completely non-existent now. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that's a good thing, because comfort is a good thing when you're going into something so intimate, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. I mean, of course, you never know. You never know what even now, we don't know. Once it goes out, we will see how the audience responds to it. And my hope is that people really understand that, it is hard. It is hard to come out and be so open about such intimate things. And hoping that it will touch that compassionate aspect of them to really question reality, which is the most important thing, which I'm very big on, is helping people understand that they can question their reality and to know what questions to ask. So that's what my hope is for this film, that people are wondering, women that are going through these,
right,
these miscarriages without having anything. Anyway, I know we have to go to break, but we'll come back with that.
No problem. Geraldine Orozco, Bay Area Meditation. Director John Sumpel of Extraordinary, The Seating. Hour 2, talking about the seating on Spaced Out Radio right after this. Stay tuned. Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other
Talk
listeners
Radio,
in our
then
chat
you'll
room.
love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show, Reality Paranormal with Chris George Zuger, Chris Cogswell, our resident scientist, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia, and UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio. Good to have you with us. Remember, all of our archives can be found at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. The only thing I ask for in return is that you hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Trichopathophobia. Trichopathophobia is your password. Be sure to use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, currently under construction because we're making it bigger and better due to your demand. Tonight we are talking with Geraldine Orozco on The Spiritual You, except it's a extra special episode because Geraldine has brought along a friend, director John Sumple of Extraordinary, The Seeding. This is about men and women who have had ET contact, abductions, implantations, and so much more. And we're going to get into that very, very heavy tonight. Geraldine, John, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Geraldine, right before the break, we were talking about the emotional aspect of the seeding and going through the fact that you are part of a hybridization program and the people you met through the Extraordinary, the seeding. It was really emotional for you to know that you were able to chat with people having some of the same type of experiences. When you heard the other experiences in this documentary film, were they very similar to your own, or are they each unique?
The experiences are unique, but there are so many incredible little details that are alike that when you hear them, it's really what really just triggers you. I mean, for example, little details about things that you see when you are on craft. And also there are a lot of similarities in the process as well, which is something that's so important, I feel, and the importance of sharing these experiences, that we're kind of piecing together an understanding of how this hybridization process really works, through the stories of other people and through their unique experiences. But I remember very interestingly is having something in common with April, for example, where she had these the ET being screened directly in front of her, and I believe that's something that she experienced as well, if I'm not mistaken. She had a screening of one of these reptilian beings that she was being inseminated with, and we had a very similar experience as well. And with Rob, for example, he would talk about the technology on the craft, and I mean, immediately, as soon as he began to describe the technology on the craft and little details, like, for example, the colors, the lighting, the shading, the technology, how it functions, having a holographic projector that was a navigation system that was, managed telepathically. I mean, those kinds of things that you can't you don't see anywhere else, such unique information. It was just mind-blowing to be able to hear that from someone else, and it kind of makes you kind of take a step back and breathe and really experience that, on a whole different level. And at the same time, you are learning, and it's almost as if you are connecting telepathically, and that's something I've experienced with other experiencers as well, that in a way we connect telepathically through imagery, through our emotional senses on how we have experienced something, and that's very powerful. And it's something that we are learning, and I feel that one of the important things of talking about this is that you're educating people on technology. You're educating them on how even their own body works, their own biology, their own process. The importance of the human race as well. And I know we were talking a little bit in the break about this with John. And John, please do continue as you were speaking about that. But, he was talking about how, we're seeding information into this reality. And please, I want you to explain it the way you were saying it, John. Please continue on that thought.
Sure. When we first started working on the concept of the film, it was primarily going to be about women who have gone through pregnancies where all of a sudden there was a missing fetus, and there was abduction experiences. There was opportunities to see child on craft. That entire process was kind of our focus, and it was going to be a more of a emotional story about the individuals who've had these different experiences, and looking for those corroborative stories like Geraldine was talking about, and sharing those type of things. One of the things that we uncovered in this process was 3 points, and really the purpose of the film was to, by the time we finished it, we knew that there was a desire to accomplish 3 goals. 1, create awareness. Our goal is to reach the widest audience possible, so that means moving conversations from the shadows into the light, from the fringes into the center, so that there's more conversation, more awareness. So we have to present the information in a way that is digestible to someone who may be hearing about it for the very first time, but if it's impactful in a way where they can make a connection emotionally, they may have a better opportunity to let it sink in and really think about it, and maybe do their own research and maybe talk to people about it. That really is a big part of what we want to do. So we don't want to be super micro with information that might turn that audience off. So it was very important to create awareness, heighten awareness. That was very, very important. Through the different things that were shared by the individuals, we realized that there is a lack of compassion. And that is very, very important for people who've been through something like this, to have an understanding that I'm not alone, that I can share my story and not be ostracized or called crazy, that there are other people out there just like me, and it's important for me to know that people who might not have been through my experience can be there for me. And then the third thing was for people who watch this film and they're like, my gosh, I've had the same thing happen to me, but I've never shared it, to understand that there's a community out there to help you. So to be a part of, to know that you're not alone. So the film really has those 3 things: creating awareness of the things that are going on, encouraging compassion, and really encouraging people who've been through experiences to find the community that can help them, truly understand what has happened to them and feel like there's a tribe there that I can relate to because they know what I've been through. So that was a big part of it. But one of the things that Geraldine said during one of her interviews was that this is about seeding the information. And when I remember vividly when she said that, I was like, this is perfect for the film, because not only is it about the seeding from a alien hybridization program, but it's about seeding information that people might not be aware of. So if you are aware of a film like this that exists and you watch it, and even if you've never had an experience before, but it's so profound, it has an impact on you that you want to share it with somebody else, or have a conversation with somebody else about it, or have a group viewing, and invite people over to have a conversation after you've had a chance to see the film. That seeding is just as important as the storyline in the film, and maybe it's probably even more so important. And I realized that through the journey of the film for me. And I was sharing this with Dave and Geraldine earlier, that if you had asked me 10 years ago if I would be doing this, I would have said absolutely not. And by doing this, I mean directing documentary films with my partners about ufology and abductions. After the first film, the Stan Romanek film, I was hell-bent on not doing another film in the genre because I didn't want to be pigeonholed. Then The Orchard, our distributor, said they would give us an advance on the royalties to make the film. Then all of a sudden, money was there to make another film, and we were encouraged to know that there were some resources there that would help us get this done. So I signed up and was excited to do another film like this. But what transformed for me was the emotional stories, what I learned through that process when I realized that I am part of that seeding, part of that helping people better understand what an experiencer is going through, what an abductee is going through, helping people make the connection that I may not understand it, I've never been through it, but I need to be there for the people who have, show compassion, be empathetic, be that shoulder to cry on, that person to hug you and let them know that everything's going to be okay, that I'm there for you. That made me realize that my role was much bigger than I originally ever thought it was going to be. And, we all felt that as we were working on this film in particular. In the interviews that we did in L.A. with someone like Melinda Leslie, I feel it wound up with the heart and soul messages in this film that when you see it, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. And those moments, I had tears in my eyes on more than one occasion when I was doing the interviews because I felt it. I felt that there needs to be more compassion. You need to sit in front of somebody who's had this experience, hear them talk about it, then you'll get it. And we hope to accomplish just a small fraction of that by sharing those stories in this film.
John, I got to ask you, a topic like this is highly controversial, even in the UFO community, where there are a lot of people, scientists mainly, who say there is no evidential proof that this is truly happening. All we have is experiencers' stories, and as emotional and as truthful as they may sound, it's not enough to scientifically prove that these events are true. After doing this and hearing stories of Geraldine and other people in Extraordinary, The Seeding, what do you say to these scientists and these critics who completely say that this is full of hogwash and imagination?
I think it's really easy to make that criticism from afar. I think it's even easy to make that criticism after watching a film like this, if you come from a scientific background. I have a good friend in South Florida that when it screened at the Fort Lauderdale International Film Festival, her comment to me was, there's no empirical evidence. So as a scientist, it's very hard for me to make a leap when someone's telling an emotional story. My thing is that if you spend the time that we've spent interviewing people, talking to them on the phone, screening them, truly understanding the nuts and bolts of their foundational story, not just what winds up being on film. When you spend that time with an individual, with Stan Romanek, as controversial as he is, we spent hours on the phone, 3-day weekend one time at his house, and another full week where we spent that entire time going through all the evidence. So Stan's got so much evidence that it took us a week to go through all of it, watching all the video, reading all the documentation that he had. When you spend that much time with an individual who's been through something like this and you see them in the quiet moments and they ask you questions like, do you think I'm crazy? Did this really happen to me? Why am I doing this? You see it from a completely different perspective. You have a better understanding of what these people have gone through. And when you have somebody like Rob, who in this film he's very honest in what he's gone through, and it's a very emotional, very raw storytelling from his point of view. When you spend time with people like this, who show the gamut of emotions, I haven't had an abduction experience, but these stories are so profound that I think they're worth the attention that we're giving to them, because I think it will help people better understand that just because I haven't had the experience myself doesn't mean I should discount it. So that's really, we know that we're not going to reach everybody with a scientific mind. And if you're a skeptic, you're going to watch the film and ridicule it. And you know what? That's okay, because we know that the impact on the other side of the equation will be much more profound. It will resonate with more people than it doesn't. And that really is ultimately what we're out to accomplish, is creating a higher awareness, bringing this story to the center and out of the fringes.
Geraldine Orozco, The Spiritual You happens the first Tuesday of every month. Geraldine, I want to ask you that same question. As someone who has been part of the hybridization program, when you hear the critics out there saying, it's imagination, it's never happened, we have no physical proof of this, what is your reaction to the community?
It is an expected reaction. I mean, if you talked to me about 10 years ago about all of this, I mean, I wouldn't be able to talk on or speak on any of this, really, because my reality was so different. And I think it's a process of having compassion for those that are yet to come through this, new ways of looking at reality. I think that as we are all evolving, as our technology is progressing, moving, advancing, a lot of things are coming into the limelight. And one of those things is the question of consciousness. And we are questioning. Science is questioning consciousness. And as we approach and go deeper into that realm of trying to understand what our multidimensional reality consists of, we are being brought to ask these difficult questions on how to explain things that we can't explain with our current physics, with our current understanding of reality, of science, of everything. And so the invitation is there to, allow space, open space and hold space for those that are still inquiring and still looking at that. I mean, for me, what I've learned, one of the most important things is that there is no black and white. There is no right and wrong. And as controversial as that may sound, it's within the limitations of this, concept of duality that we lose ourselves, that we lose the ability to look beyond our comfort zone. So, it takes bravery on multiple levels, and it takes kind of a surrendering to knowledge, to information, to wisdom that is beyond our comfort zone. So my hope is that, in this film allows people to question it, and just the quality of how this film was made, which I'm very honored to have been a part of because of the quality and the level of professionalism that they put into this. And very elegant design in the movie and the flow of the information and how the stories are progressing in the film really helps people kind of understand how serious and how real this is. And with experiences like this and with stories of thousands of people around the world experiencing these things, we can't continue to just hold on to one way of thinking, one school of thought. It's quite ignorant of us or limiting of us to just hold on to one way of thinking. So for me, it's an invitation to all those that are, questioning reality, and just hold space in the most loving way possible to help anyone come into questioning their reality. And that's really all that we're asking, question everything, question your reality, question what's real, question your belief system. And we'll find soon enough that as our science is moving, new science, new even laws of physics are being discovered, are being, learned, are being explored. So nothing is set in stone in our reality. We are constantly evolving and moving. So that would be my take on it.
Can I jump in on this? And
Sure.
I want to piggyback a little bit off of that. One of the things that, and I don't know all the different conversations and topics that you've talked about in your monthly discussions with Angelique, but with Geraldine, the one thing that really stood out to me when we were doing the interview with her was her basically reframing everything for us. This isn't in the film, but this was a big part of our, getting to know her and the initial parts of the questions that we'd ask to kind of warm up the whole conversation and get to the good stuff a little bit further on. But the good stuff started coming in the first 5-10 minutes of having the conversation with her. And it really was about asking you to look at your process differently. Don't be beholden to your reality, because your reality is just something that you're comfortable with. And I think one of the big things that I took away from the conversations with Geraldine is to step back a little bit and question how it all fits together. And it really, to me, one of the key takeaways was to challenge your belief system, and don't just follow the masses over the cliff, so to speak. It was very profound. It was a very profound and enlightening. It was contentious a few times during our interview because she really challenged us, and it wasn't just with me; it was our entire crew. She challenged us to look at things a little bit differently, and I can honestly say that as time went on after that interview, it made more sense for those who were in the room. So I think Geraldine has a very important message that she is delivering on a daily basis. And the more people who listen to her and truly try to embrace what she's sharing, they'll find a higher level of consciousness and a better understanding about how we fit into the cosmos. It is I can't do it justice, and I'm blabbering a little bit, but it's very important work that she's doing, and I'm very proud to be a part of what she's doing, not only with her role in our film, but anything and everything that we can do to help advance her mission is just as important too.
We got about a minute to go before we go to break here, Geraldine, and Melinda Leslie, who I know you're listening, Melinda, because Geraldine just passed me a message. I know you're listening. You got to come on this show in June. You have to. You'll be hearing from me. She says everyone should see this movie in order to understand the hybridization story. After all, it is still the number one reason for abductions, and abductions are the number one reason ETs are here. I am honored to be a part of this film. Melinda, if you want to call in during the break, we'll get your number. We'll call you in to be a part of this if you want. So just send Geraldine a message and we can do that. The beauty of live radio, you never know who is listening. The lovely and talented Melinda Leslie. I love her. Love her. But you know what? We're going to get into more. We're going to get into more of ET abductions, ET hybridization. We got to get deep here. We only got Geraldine and John and maybe Melinda Leslie for another hour here on the show. So stay tuned. Geraldine Orozco's The Spiritual You happens the first Tuesday of every month. She will be back on June 4th. And don't forget, the seating. Extraordinary. The seating. This is a good one. You're going to wait until September to see it, but we got a first audio look right here on Spaced Out Radio. Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, And what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com. Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We've passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you inside SOR headquarters here in the frozen Canadian tundra. Remember, if you've missed most of this show or any others, you can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, to check out our archives for free. Just hit that subscribe button. Our website is currently under construction. That's spacedoutradio.com. We're making it bigger and better due to your demand, so stay tuned for that in the next couple of weeks. Tonight we are talking with Geraldine Orozco on The Spiritual You. It's a special edition tonight because we are talking about Extraordinary, The Seeding. We are joined by director John Sumple as well, and we've just had Melinda Leslie call on in during the break, and she is now joining us. John, Geraldine, Melinda, thank you so much for being on Spaced Out Radio. What a pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure's ours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here.
Right before the break, we were talking about the criticisms and the critiques that many people have taken during their publication of their own experiences. And Melinda, you're new to the panel here, and I want to get your opinion because you're also involved in the seeding as well. You've been dealing with these type of experiences for decades. And I think you were one of the most brilliant researchers out there. And in fact, just to let our audience know, we've booked you for June 19th to come on this show because we got to pick your brain about everything you've learned behind the scenes of To the Stars Academy. But we're not getting into that tonight. I want to get into the reasoning why you think many in the UFO and ET community do not believe this is going on.
What, abductions or the hybridization?
The hybridization, yes.
Well, I just was saying because Geraldine had texted me on Messenger and had said we may not be able to, call you or whatever, but what would you like to share with the audience? I'll read it to them. And in doing that, I said abductions, hybridization is why abductions are happening. It is the number one thing that goes on. I mean, yes, there are other things, but this is the one consistent thing. I think the years, 50 years or longer of abduction research has borne that out as, being very self-evident. And that's why the abductions happen. It is the taking of eggs, from ovum from women and sperm from men and producing these hybrid beings. It's still the number one thing that happens in abductions, statistically much more than other things happening in the experiences. And I and I can point to 50 years of research into the abduction field by all the major researchers in the field that would concur with me that that's in fact the case. And I believe, not just believe, I think that the strongest evidence, if anyone says, why are the ETs coming here? Why are they visiting? Well, you have to go back to what are they doing when they're here? And what's the strongest evidence is abductions. Now, granted, they're doing possibly, many other things. I could list them on, but those other things, as far as statistically, pale in comparison to the number of abductions that are happening. So it seems like the number one reason why the ETs are here is abductions, and the number one thing that they're doing is creating hybrids. But that's what it's about, significantly. And I don't say that lightly. That's what the research shows. And I don't know, did I answer your question?
Well, I think we got to go in deep with that. I really do. And John, when you decided to do the seeding and get into this hybridization program, did you think it was as technical and as emotional as it was? Like, what were some of the experiences that caught you off guard as the director, John?
I'll have one of the things that I think I should preface on this too is that I bow to the knowledge of the people who have been in this film and who have been doing the research and who have had experiences for decades. I was fortunate enough when I was younger to have a couple of sightings, and that's my level of exposure to ufology. I was never a hardcore researcher. I was never I guess you would say somebody who would go down the rabbit hole on the internet and doing research until it was the Stan Romanek story was brought to our attention. Then I started really peeling back the layers of the onion and was blown away by all the things I started learning. So it's been a relatively new journey for me, which has been, I think, a very positive thing because my producer partner, Jack Roth, is the heavy researcher, does a lot of the heavy lifting and has a lifelong background in having consumed a lot of knowledge through books and different things that he's watched and witnessed to and conventions and things that he's gone to and people that he's met. So he is the one who carries the wealth of the knowledge, the background. And I come in from a more of a kind of the neophyte, the new guy, the one who still needs to learn all this. And I think that interprets well to the audience who may be watching something like this and saying, my gosh, I really never knew about this before because I didn't either. So my line of questioning going through this process is one of wonder and discovery and deer in the headlights at certain times because it's so profound. So, yeah, there were the biggest thing for me in the interview that really kind of brought it all home for me was the one that I did with Melinda. And it was, I remember, Melinda, at one point, you said to me, when we took a break, you said, I thought you were going to break down and start crying. And the reason why is because I had never heard someone tell a story with such conviction about not just her personal experiences, is that, damn it, I'm tired of people not caring. This is ridiculous. And not all of her, the part where she was most convicted is not all of it was in the film. So we'll do a side story about those down the road, and we'll definitely have an opportunity to share those. But she went on for a good 5-10 minutes, angry, frustrated, upset emotionally, that there isn't a bigger concern, a humanity play here for people. One of the things she said is that, when there are people who have cancer, there are people who have, a loss in their family, there are people who have to go through a divorce, and we're always there for those people. The trauma that people that go through in these abductions is no different. It's trauma. Trauma is trauma, no matter how you look at it. Why do we walk away? Why do we walk wide circles around people who have had these experiences? That was the bell went off in my head where I realized that our role in this journey was to help people understand that better.
Mm-hmm. Geraldine, with everything that you went through in regards to the hybridization program, now I believe you have done this 8 times, correct?
8 times. Are you referring to my regressions, or what are you referring to?
Well, I thought in previous shows, and maybe I'm just guessing here, that you said that you felt you had around 8 hybrid children.
I was presented 8 hybrid children in my conscious experience, but I actually have 24 hybrid children, and that was found through several regressions.
Oh, wow. So when you go, what happens when you go through this? Explain to people when they take you, what happens?
Well, the process is, I guess I break it down in 3 separate parts, which is the insemination, let's say 4. The first would be the prep work, which is probably implantation of some sort, usually to prep the body for what's to come, for the insemination process, and also I think technology that helps them maybe to ease the access of the abduction process. So then the next part would be the insemination, the incubation for up to a week, 3 months, however long, up to, for me, it's been up to 3 months is the longest time. And then a removal process, and then, the child, then there's a presentation that happens later, and that's kind of like the process of what I've experienced myself and what I've noticed with other hybrid parents, that this is kind of what they experience. And experiencers will be introduced to the process consciously, at any one of these, different markers within the process, I guess you could say. For me, I was presented my children in 2013 consciously, and that's how all of this began. And out of being shown 8 hybrid lights or hybrid essences, I was presented physically to 4 of those hybrid children, which I, met and I saw, and I could describe them for you. But, over the course of about, 10 hypnotic regressions now, I, found out that I have 24 hybrid children actually, and a part of 4 different hybridization programs. So, it's kind of a complex program. I mean, there's many different aspects to it, and different ways that it's carried out. Each one of these different processes are different, and that's something that's interesting. When you meet other hybrid parents, you learn a little bit more about their processes. You recognize, for example, how the insemination program may be different. And there's many different ways. It can be done through screening. It can be done through actual intercourse. It can be done through a mechanical insemination. Or they can also remove your material, your genetic material, and it's kind of like in a petri kind of dish process, and then it's brought back into the uterus later on. So there are many different ways that these processes are carried out, and all of them have different side effects as well physically. The women that, are going through this process, some women experience having the miscarriages where they are going into about 3 months into the pregnancy, and then they experience a miscarriage, and of course there's nothing there. Or, maybe, there's their menstrual cycle is completely thrown off, and many other physical traits that will be resulting of that. With my own story, and even Melinda, are experiences that she has had as well. I mean, you can have allergies to chemicals, to different medications. That's something that happened to me. Your body becomes sensitive. It resists certain things, and becoming extremely ill even after you are going through the insemination process or the extraction process. So, this is where things become more real. I mean, when you have medical records, that match, your experiences throughout your history, even as a child, you really start to question, how is this possible? And, how come I didn't even, of course, our reality doesn't support such a thing. Our common thinking, our common mind doesn't even think. Our medical, there is no medical support for such a thing. And that's also another reason why I'm so, focused on getting this information out, because there are many women out there that don't have medical support, that are going to their gynecologist and they're saying, hey, this is happening to me, doctor, how can I explain this, or what's happening? And a lot of times you get, blank stares and just things that are, for example, it's probably stress, or, it's something that's natural, but you know that it's not natural. You know that it's something off, and it's something that, Melinda and I have also talked about in group with some of these other women experiencers. So it just brings it closer to home. It makes it very real.
Melinda, is it just one species that is doing these hybridizations programs? Would it be the Greys, or do we have other species as well that are conducting these experiments?
Many species. That's one thing that's brought up in the movie, and I applaud John and company for addressing that. It was from many different types. It seems like I feel like saying all the types. Yeah, okay. I feel very comfortable saying that. When it comes to all the different types of beings that are seen most consistently in abductions, that all of those are involved in hybridization. People have been presented with the hybrid children and hybrid babies, and the hybrid, teens and adults too. But often when it's babies or very young or hybrid fetuses or whatever, it's often reported that they're not just a cross between human and Greys, which of course is the most commonly reported, but also the insectoid beings and certainly the reptilian beings. And I know people that have been presented with hybrid children that seem to be a cross with all these various different types. So I think the evidence is there that it's with many types of beings, or like I said, all the if there's a top 20 list of ETs experienced in abductions, then they're all involved in the hybridization, as much as I can tell. I admit I'm not. I'm a generalist in my abduction research and a specialist in the MILAB event, and but I do try to keep up, or certainly back in the 90s and early 2000s, I was really keeping up on what the major researchers say, and so I figured that would be in agreement with them. I kind of laughed when Geraldine said messing with your feminine cycle, because that was one thing in the early 90s, not to gross everyone out, but, everyone knows women have cycles, periods, and I was going like 2 weeks on my cycle, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And there was a time when, in like a 5-month period where I would have had 4 or 5 cycles, I had like 8. So I was clearly that something was happening that was speeding up my ovulation process and recovery process. And during that time, I was having back-to-back abductions. Now, as I've gotten older, it's slowed down, and it seems to be about other things if it happens. But it seems now, from what I can tell, I'm like 2 years between abduction accounts, that I might have something, and then it might be like 2 years, and then I have something. And I've now entered menopause. So, but since entering menopause, I've only had like one abduction experience, and of course it wasn't about that. But that's one thing many female abductees wondered upon, now that we have 50 years of abduction research, did it stop with going into menopause? And no, so because it's not just and each person has a different reason for involvement, but I'm just saying the most constant and consistent thing is the taking of ovum and sperm, production of hybrids, and child presentations, etc. So people can still have things that have abduction events, even though it may not be about that. But I think that this is, again, there's evidence for this in the abduction research, that as people get older, it does slow down with less and less experiences. In some cases, some people think it altogether stops. But myself and some other friends of mine that are older, even some friends that I know of Geraldine's, still have stuff occasionally happen, even though, well, for instance, women, even though they've entered into menopause. But I want to also make it very clear to people, this isn't just about women, that men are having the experience too. Again, John, you had two males in the movie, the taking of sperm and the being shown children, and one of them, Rob, I just met through the process of the making of the film and the showing of it. But he has an incredible story. And the other one, Jason, who has a brief bit in the movie, has a more detailed story, and it gets very emotional for him. Obviously, from Rob in the movie, it gets very emotional. So there's still that whole emotional component, and there's still many physical components to it, even for the men. So it's they're interested, in the DNA of both men and women, obviously. I also want to say here really quick, since I have the floor for a minute, I'm kind of
we got about 30 seconds.
Time,
we got about 30 seconds,
okay.
my dear.
Okay. Well, just super quick, I'll say I strongly do feel that that the hybridization is about consciousness, that it is about creating beings that have everything that they're humans, but they have that ET DNA, that ET mental intelligence, mental abilities, psi abilities, and that the hybrids, has often been called the perfected hybrids in abduction research, are just ones that, for all intents and purposes, they're a human being that just have some ET DNA that are being brought here to live amongst us. Well, when that interbreeds with the rest of society through marriage and dating and everything, that causes a seed change in humanity. Right. And I do believe it is about, even though it's the hybridization, and anyone who's with the organization Free, I believe that it is about the consciousness. That's what the hybridization program is for.
Got to cut you off right there. We're going to go to break. Geraldine Orozco, Spiritual You, continues after this.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow night on the show, we get real with Reality Paranormal. Chris Cogswell, our resident scientist, and Chris George Zuger, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California. In Noonan, Georgia, WQEE 99.1 FM. KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, and in New Orleans, UPRN 107.7 FM. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Only thing I ask for in return is to hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Trichopathophobia. Trichopathophobia is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is currently under construction, but you can still listen to the show there. We're making it bigger, better, all because of you. You wanted it, we're bringing it. It'll launch in the next couple of weeks. The Spiritual You happens the first Tuesday of every month with Geraldine Orozco from Bay Area Meditation down in San Francisco, California. We're doing a special tonight as we are joined by extraordinary, the seating director, John Stumple, and we've also been joined by Melinda Leslie, who is one of the top researchers in ufology today. And I want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you for coming on The Spiritual You tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Geraldine, I want to ask you. Yeah, go ahead, Melinda.
Oh, Dave, I was just going to say, I appreciate you calling me one of the top researchers in ufology, but that's kind of a stretch. I mean, there's a lot of really good people, but thank you. I appreciate the compliment.
Melinda,
I'm a little embarrassed by it.
I'm the host. I get to say what I want on the microphone. It's my microphone. And if I think that's the truth, I'm going to say it. So that's why I said it.
No,
so you have to.
Thank you.
You have to take the compliment.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Not a problem. Not a problem
okay,
whatsoever.
I'll shut up and say thank you.
Geraldine, in all of your experiences with hybridization, have you figured out the moving question of why you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a question that many experiencers ask, when they are new to this. And in my process of kind of understanding this, and just to, continue Melinda's previous thought before we went to break, which was so important, which is focusing on the concept, which is beyond any fear-based programming on how these programs are carried out. We're talking about consciousness, and we're talking about a certain kind of exchange, right? What is the exchange that's occurring here between the human race and these alien species? And what it comes down to is a certain kind of exchange of information. And what makes, I guess, from the perspective of what makes the human race so important of interest to these species that are then breeding with us to combine this genetic information. And what I have seen in my own personal experiences and in my own work is that as a human race, we are talking about the exchange of that consciousness. And, whether it is the expansion or the prolonged utilization of human life force through this procreation, through many different procreation and hybridization programs, because again, there are many. We're talking about, even these races, the reptilian, Melinda was naming out a couple of them earlier, but all of these different races that are here in this matrix multiverse, as I talk about, are a part of this on some level, because there is an exchange of information that is occurring between the human race and them. And what we find is that, and what I've realized is that ultimately, even the human race is a hybridization program. I mean, and we talked about this on other shows, that if you go back in time, to the very origin of seeding of life on this planet, we're talking about genetic modification over time. If we look at our DNA, if we look at the history of the evolution of mankind, it is clear that we are evolving in a different way, different from other living organisms, even here on this planet. And so that really leads to the question, what makes us humans? Not just me, not just the experiencers that we are hearing stories, but the entire human race of interest for this. And it's really the exchange of that consciousness of the experience. And this goes really deep, and we can get into that some other times because, it is such a big topic. But the human has this ability to evolve, to progress, to hold and activate different aspects of their DNA. And we've seen that with how we are evolving, how we are able to adapt and shift from different, ways of thinking. And even in this realm of discovery through the hybridization program, where our paradigms are being shifted to such an extreme where we are presented with new dimensions of reality, new dimensions of life forms, of technology, of things that as humans we can't grasp. It means that there is so much more out there in this universe that we have yet to understand of ourselves. So, why us as a human race? I think it has to do with our ability to, as consciousness, be able to experience all aspects of reality, all aspects of illusion, of life forms, to experience those emotions, to experience, and I think that our emotions as tools are one of the most important tools of information and something that helps us navigate our reality. So, these hybrids that are a combination of many different species, not just human and perhaps their own dedicated race, like, for example, reptilian and human, we're talking about a cocktail of DNA. And I believe that the reason for that is that we are being enhanced as a race, maybe further down the evolutionary line, to be able to sustain and to maybe thrive in different environments, of course, that are on maybe other dimensions or other environments, maybe even on other planets. So, within our own reality, we have hybrids that are being born here on Earth too, and that's a whole another realm of this that we need to consider. We have hybrid children that are being born with knowledge that is beyond our comprehension at such a young age. I mean, Mary Rodwell was talking about that at UFO MegaCon this year,
yes.
And it's mind-blowing. Linda was there and she heard it too. I mean, it's mind-blowing being able to listen to this kind of information that comes through these children. So there's something to be said about humans and the consciousness, and more importantly, the limitation of the consciousness that we're sharing here. The question is really, as a collective consciousness, how can we move beyond the perceived limitations of a system, of a structure of reality that is hindering our ability to ask these questions and to move forward in our ability to understand what lies beyond. So that's what I've kind of assessed through my own personal experiences, and
obviously
yes,
I agree. My comments right before the break, that it'll create a seed change in, John, I don't know if that was intended in the naming as well, but I think it is. It's a seed change in humanity. It's a seeding of the DNA, of course, but also, as you just said, with Mary, incredible work Mary Rodwell's doing with children that are these hybrids, it seems that more and more of these, quote, perfected hybrids, meaning not that they're better in any way, just for all intents and purposes, it's a human, but are being brought here and are being born here, and more abductees are running into their hybrid children and hybrid teenagers and young adults in daily life situations. This is on the increase. This is one thing that Dave Jacobs and Mary Rodwell, even though they may disagree on many things, this is one area where they agree, and they're both coming across this. But getting back to your question you just asked about why us, and Geraldine may think differently for herself per se, but the abduction research shows that it happens in family lines. If you're an abductee, it goes back in your family. That is a very common trait. There are abduction cases well known in abduction research that go back, this day and age, to hear of a case that goes back 4 generations or 5 generations is not that unusual. An abductee has kids, then has grandkids. They're having it happen. They find out their parents had it happen. They might find out their great-grandparents had it happen. This is becoming more and more common. I've met many families that go back like 4 generations now. So it does run in families. It goes with this hybridization program. They're following a genetic lineage, that it's not like a new thing. I believe that this has probably been going on for hundreds of years, if not longer. There's even, we can get into the whole ancient aliens scenario, suggesting that, and as Geraldine just said, that there's been tampering going way back in all of human history. And certainly I think that what we call the current, abduction scenario, or at least 50 years of research, and a lot of cases maybe going back within 100 years, as far as, 50 years of research now, but, realizing it went back with parents and grandparents, so you can easily, say 100 years, that modern view is just because the research is opened up on it. But I think it's not like it just started at some point. It's probably gone back to as Geraldine just said, the seeding of the human race. But as far as why us, and why current abductees now is they're following a genetic lineage, that it probably went back in our families. The one-time abduction cases are very rare, and even some of the famous cases that you think it happened just once, it turns out they've actually had it happen a bunch of times, and it happens in their family and whatnot. And I know that for a fact. I could get into some of those cases, but sometimes the person chooses not to go public about more of it, or their siblings and parents or whatever aren't going public about it. I mean, I'm sure you guys have already addressed this, how difficult it is. And I heard, John, in part of what your interview with Richard Dolan, I heard you guys talking about, how many people you talked to be in this movie who didn't want to do it because they risked their career, their jobs, their reputations, whatever. It is very difficult to be public. I mean, people like Geraldine and I have jumped into the, deep end of the pool here to have like careers in the UFO field, careers in, in everything Geraldine is doing with her healing and consciousness and meditative work and spiritual work, and me in that way, in that I do, readings and my spiritual work, but I also do my UFO tours, and I'm a researcher in ufology and out there on the lecture circuit, So we're people that have committed to, it's okay for people to know. I still, with that, have a fear of ridicule. It's still there. I face it constantly on my UFO sighting tour. I have people that, will bring it up, and some people, are really open and accepting, and others are more closed about it. I get kind of an attitude from people. They've usually spent the evening already with me, and they're very nice, and they know I'm pretty down to earth. But then if somebody brings this up and asks me because they've looked me up online or something beforehand, I can see some people kind of get uncomfortable now. But having had said that, on the other swing of that pendulum is I also have people constantly bring up their own experiences. And when I first started doing my tours, I was surprised at first, but now I'm not, how many people are having this happen. And that's what the movie, getting back to the movie, will really help those people. And John, this is going to be extremely healing for people that have had the experience and are wondering if they did or can't really talk about it, or, so, and all of those of us who go public, and I'm sure, Geraldine, you probably feel the same way, is we're not certainly not doing this for attention. We're not doing this because it's easy to do. It's extremely difficult to talk about, but we're doing it because we realize we're the voice of the thousands of people who can't talk, and the people. Yeah. Okay.
John, I want to ask you a question in regards to this. Director of Extraordinary, The Seating, John Sumple. John, how has your interpretation of this entire phenomena changed after this film?
It has brought me to a bigger cosmic view. I've always had an open-minded perception that we are not alone. I had some sighting experiences when I was a kid, no abduction experiences that I'm aware of. But, the curiosity, my start in this was I was more interested in making a documentary film than I was in the subject matter initially. But once I was exposed to the subject matter and started doing more and more research and creating even more awareness of what really was going on, made me realize, and as I mentioned earlier, that I'm kind of the person who isn't coming from the point of view of I'm a hardcore believer and I'm going to shove it down your throat. I'm coming from the perspective of wonder and curiosity, in a little bit of naivete and not being aware of all the fine points. And that's where I think there's value in telling it from that point of view, because I don't have an agenda other than saying these are interesting stories. It would do you well to listen to them and then formulate your own opinions based on what you've seen. And we asked this question in the first film and, address it throughout the second film several different ways, is what if this is all true? Just ask yourself the question, what if this is all true? And one thing I did want to mention, too, is in regards to some of the discussion we've had here, is that we're doing a third film. We're actually in production on that now. We'll be doing interviews later this month in earnest, so we'll have that production all done by the middle of June. The third film is going to take a perspective of, okay, now that we've introduced the concept of the hybridization program, we're going to look at it from a historical perspective. How long has it been happening? And address that. Where does it fit in our consciousness? The second part of the film, the third film, will be on there's different belief structures around this, and different people come from a different perspective, and they all believe that aliens exist, they all believe that abductions are happening, and they all believe that there's some sort of reproduction program going on. But their outcomes are vastly different. One is the religious paradigm, the other is the ascension, love and light paradigm, and the third is the colonization paradigm. Dr. Jacobs will be in this film. So those are three very different perspectives on a belief system that is founded in that they do exist. They're here. These things are happening, but the outcomes are very, very different. And the third part of the third film will be the government. What's the government's role? How have they been involved? Why are we not talking about these things? And what is the overall impact in the long term? What's the end game? Why is this happening? We can't answer all the questions, and we never said that we were out to do that. All we want to do is get people thinking a little bit harder, a little bit deeper, having a little bit more curiosity, and bringing the discussion to a much bigger audience. But overall, I think that the transformation for me has been about the impact on the individuals, and I don't think, though, they have been served, and I think that's important.
3 minutes to go in the Spiritual You. Geraldine Orozco, what did you learn about yourself being a part of this documentary, and where do you see yourself going forward?
Thanks for asking. I mean, something that I've learned is I've learned so much, Dave. There is really no limit to the things that my life has completely changed, as you know. My understanding the importance of knowing yourself, understanding the importance of knowing yourself is really the biggest takeaway that I can say overall. I mean, for me, this awakening, this process of understanding has afforded me with a new perspective on life, a new perspective on humanity, and a new level of compassion for all beings and all people that go through any level of trauma, any level of paradigm shifting experiences. And my purpose for being here, for experiencing all of this, and for sharing my experiences is to be of support, to be of service to humanity in any way that it possibly can, whether it's through the stories of my experiences or whether it's healings or, just holding space for those that are trying to come out and understand their life, understand their reality better. And to me, it's just a tremendous blessing and a gift to have been given any of this information at all, having gone through these experiences. And just to add to what Melinda was saying about the family lineages, I mean, my entire family was affected by all of this. I have the hybridization program occurring, with my mother, with my grandmother, my aunts. They have gone through experiences, and if it wasn't for my opening, my, vocalizing of my experiences, I'm not sure how they would have dealt with their own experiences. We kind of came together closer as a family, myself and my family nucleus, by opening up to these experiences, I feel. So I really have nothing but joy and happiness for all of that has occurred, and hold it in positive light. And for the future, my focus is to work in every way possible to help people come out of this closet, so to speak, the experiencer closet, and to share their experiences as well. So that's what I hope to do, with this film and any projects that I'm working on or speaking engagements. That's the purpose, to inform and to empower everyone that is experiencing this kind of a phenomena. Yeah.
Geraldine Orozco, John Sumple, Melinda Leslie, thank you for being a part of the Spiritual You tonight. Geraldine's website, BayAreaMeditation.com in San Francisco, California, or GeraldineOrozco.com. Remember, Extraordinary, the seating, coming out in September. We got a fresh look at it tonight. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio, the SOR News Wire, and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned as we take this home.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you tonight, and it's that time of the night where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, the SOR Newswire. But before we do, got to remind all of you that if you've missed portions of tonight's show and you want to check them on out or other shows, head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. That's where we store our archives. They're all for free for you, so you can check them on out on our website, spacedoutradio.com. Currently under construction, the Gavinator is working on it. So make sure you check back in a couple of weeks, because we're making it bigger and better for all of you. Let's get to the news time. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the wacky, the head-scratching headlines of the day, all brought to you by Paranoia Magazine, and our intrepid news director, Captain Shirk, does a fantastic job in getting us all ready for the news. Here's a strange one right off the bat. A Mongolian couple has died of bubonic plague, reportedly after eating raw marmot. Yeah. So, according to the World Health Organization, the couple consumed the raw meat and kidney of a marmot believed by some to be a folk remedy for good health. The rodent is a known carrier of Yersinia pestis, the bacterium commonly associated with bubonic plague. Following the couple's deaths on May 1st, a quarantine was issued in Mongolia's western Bayan-Olgi province, which borders China and Russia. More than 100 people, including foreign tourists from Switzerland, Sweden, Kazakhstan, and South Korea, had come into contact with the couple and have been isolated and treated with antibiotics. The quarantine was lifted Monday after no other cases were reported. The Black Death, as it is known, killed millions of people during the Middle Ages but cases are now very uncommon. Human plague infections do occur occasionally in the western United States, but significantly more cases occur in parts of Africa and Asia. Who eats a marmot? We got to get over these folklore tales of health by eating animals. It's just killing people. Killing people. What's going on there? Marmots are cute. I got marmots all over SOR headquarters around here. Everywhere you go, there's a bloody marmot popping up. I don't look at them as food. They're rodents. I don't know. So this dude in Suffolk County, New York, tried to pull a fast one in the HOV lanes, but he got caught. Highway patrol officers spotted something weird in a 2002 Saturn cruising in the HOV lane on the Long Island Expressway. So they decided to pull the vehicle over. Sure enough, ball cap, check. Sunglasses, check. Seat passenger with a very, very horrid rubber mask on, dressed up as a dummy, check. Yeah. The driver was issued a $150 ticket for illegally using the HOV lane on the famously busy road, but the offense occurred in a zone where it is a no-points violation. Whew, glad he missed that one. Wouldn't want them points. Those add up. Wasn't the first time this has happened. The Long Island Press rounded up half a dozen similar incidents, including one where the driver built a passenger out of wood. Well, if you had to sit in traffic, wouldn't you try it? I got busted once coming out of Vancouver in the HOV lane. There was a rear ender right in front of me, and I swerved into the HOV lane to avoid the accident. And I couldn't get back into the lane. I couldn't get back in. Lo and behold, I finally get an opening, and who's the one causing the slow accident? The RCMP car who was looking for people cheating in the HOV lane. So, of course, here I am, single driver, pulls me over. Says, what are you doing? I said, dude, you just caused an accident, and I swerved to miss the accident. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to hit the car? He goes, who cares? Here's your ticket. It was like $230. I was blown away. Blown away. I should have fought that one. Stupid I didn't. Sticking in New York. Now, I don't know if I'm a fan of this because I like a good burger. You don't get a body like mine unless you're pounding back a couple of burgers a week. Well, if you want to skip meat, and I don't agree with this, not that I'm against the whole veganism thing or anything like that, but I'm an omnivore. But you can't call it a burger if you don't have meat on it. You can't. Very strict about this. It's common practice. You want a hamburger, you got to have beef in there, or chicken, or fish, or whatever your delight. Can't have a veggie burger. That takes the whole part out of all the fun out of eating a burger, man. Well, Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods are now, doing these tests of meat eaters because they're trying to mimic the taste of beef other than veggie patties. Yeah, we're growing this fake meat in labs now that isn't meat so we could save the animals. But it isn't a veggie burger either. Yeah. So these plant-based patties, are they better for you or not? Beyond Meat's 4-ounce patty is listed as 270 calories, while Impossible Foods is 240 calories. Look, I got to stop this story right here, man. I have to. This is pissing me off. I am not digging into a burger counting calories. If you are putting a hamburger in your mouth and you're worried about carbs and calories and heart attack grease that is dripping from the cheese and the beef, go away. You don't deserve a burger. I want to pick up a burger that is so drenched in grease that grease, the minute it drops on my skin, it is seasoning, saying, oh yeah, man, we're going to give you a heart attack. This is the way to the heart attack mansion. I want bacon. I want tomatoes. I want lettuce. I want cheese, and I want beef or chicken. Okay? You know what? I'm not a fan of this. I'm not even going anymore. This story has pissed me off. Totally upset me. And for you people who are eating veggie burgers and calling it a burger, it's an insult to burgers. Stop that. Stop that. Oh, God, I'm fired up now. Totally fired up. Terrible giving companies like that press. All right. Looks like Canada has bowed down in the potential war with the Philippines. And I'm a little upset about this as a Canadian because I really wanted to drop the gloves with Duarte, or whatever his name is, Duterte or whatever. All right, so you know the story we've reported on a couple of times now, where Canada shipped a bunch of garbage over to the Philippines. It was supposed to be recyclables, but they found some pretty gross stuff in there, including used adult diapers. Well, apparently Canada has agreed to pay to re-export the waste back home. But bureaucratic red tape is slowing down the process. So apparently we've agreed to do this, take our garbage back, which I think we should because it's the right thing to do. Philippines had set a deadline of May 15th and prepared trash for shipment by that date. Canadian government, however, says informed that it might take weeks for them to arrange the necessary documents from their end because apparently garbage needs a passport. Who knew? Who knew? Well, we apparently shipped more than 100 containers of household trash, including plastic bottles, bags, newspapers, and used adult diapers, because they all go with the mix. But the Philippines are saying you got till May 15th. Duterte recently threatened to declare war against Canada. Like, what are you going to do? You don't even have a navy, man. Are you going to come on over here and say, hey, we're going to fight you? Bring it on. We'll throw you some veggie burgers. Oh, them veggie burgers. I wanted to see this. I wanted some go time. Been a long time since Canada had a good butt kicking on somebody. I was ready for it. I might even lost weight for that. Would have been fun. No, we're going to take the garbage back. Here's something cool. A tiny 3-foot-tall relative of the Tyrannosaurus rex has been discovered and named. The new dinosaur, dubbed Saskatyrannus hazeliae, was found by Virginia Tech paleontologist Sterling Nesbitt in New Mexico in 1998. Yeah. He was a 16-year-old high school student at the time when he found the fossils. He is now an assistant professor at Virginia Tech's Department of Geosciences. This is kind of cool. For almost 20 years, however, experts did not realize the importance of the discovery, saying, essentially, we didn't know we had a cousin of the Tyrannosaurus rex for many years. They always thought it was like a dromaeosaur or a velociraptor. No. It's actually kind of cool. Now, they believe this creature became extinct about 65 million years ago. It was about 9 feet long, weighed about 45 to 90 pounds, compared to the regular Tyrannosaurus rex, which was around 9 tons. Good for him. That's kind of cool. Get your name beside something like that. All right, finishing it off, let's head to our favorite state, shall we? Down in Miami, a Florida man was jailed after refusing to remove what authorities called an obscene sticker from his vehicle's window. So he's fighting the charges and will defend his constitutional rights to free speech. Dylan Webb, 23 years old, was arrested Sunday, charged with misdemeanor counts of violating Florida's obscenity law and resisting an officer without violence. So in a telephone interview, Webb said that he plans to file a wrongful arrest lawsuit against the sheriff's office. He says, "I'm tired of police forces thinking they are above the Constitution, the Bill of Rights." Now, we're trying to figure out what the sticker said. All we're hearing is, oh, it was rude. It was terrible. Rude and terrible. So apparently a deputy stopped him because the vehicle sticker crudely described his sexual appetite. When told about the reason for the stop, Webb said, "They're just words." Webb then said the deputy seemed angry. Like the whole time he was just really rude, he told the press. "It just felt to me like his goal was to get me in jail." Says, "I've had parents drive by me with their kids taking pictures. They point and laugh and giggle and they go about their day." Saying he doubts it's causing any serious damage or side effects to children. Deputy literally initially cited Webb for obscenity with a notice to appear in court. The report said the deputy told Webb to alter the sticker to change the derogatory part, but Webb refused. Says, "I'm not removing any letters on my sticker because that's in violation of my First Amendment rights as a tax-paying citizen." So he was released on $2,500 bond. That seems quite heavy for a bumper sticker, $2,500. But this one's going to court. Let's get to the thought of the day, shall we? Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. Tell me what you think about the alien hybridization program. What do you think it is? Oh, we were nice and specific there. What do you think it is? I'm still fired up about those burgers. Tired of people ripping off the name burger. Come on! Burgers. All right, thought of the day. Let's start off with Zuger, who'll be on the air tomorrow night with us. He says, "I think it's a bunch of idiots spinning a yard and people who are so ridiculously dumb as to believe if they are the inspiration for eugenics programs. Like, seriously, if anyone believes this, you seriously need to do yourself a favor and open your eyes a little bit more." William Pullen, scientist, been a guest on this show. "I have seen no verifiable evidence of such a program, only a great deal of testimony and unsubstantiated stories." Gabe, "Whatever it is, can't be good." No kidding. Lee, "I believe its end goal is integration, with the interest in fast-tracking human evolution. In this way, mind-to-mind communication or thought transfer. We would be able to understand or feel what it's like to hurt, love another being like it was ourselves. Another interesting belief is when the Greys were engineering themselves, they inadvertently gave up some of the traits they could be using humans to get some of them back. Things that we would say originate from the right brain of mankind." People kind, man. I'm in Canada. People kind. Fired up. It's all because of them burgers. How about this? Sleepy Dave says, "Did you ever think the alien-human hybrid program is because they want to create a race of beings that can live in outer space, that can sustain whatever environments there is in space? I highly suggest listening to the June 29th, 1979 Part 2 side of Mae Brussels' report on Alternative 3. It discusses the hybridization program loosely, not using those particular terms, but it does discuss it." Kevin, I always got to be careful because I read these cold. Kevin sometimes will throw a few little jinxes in there. Dave, from what I can figure out, the alien hybridization program has been going on for hundreds of thousands of years. I feel that you are referring to is an updating process that occurs on a smaller scale with the abduction of individuals, reproductive scenarios taking place, and then those same individuals, in many cases, briefly being allowed to view their offspring. Joe, I think the movies from the 1950s had it right. The aliens are here for our women. The aliens are just like human sailors. They've spent a long time crossing space and haven't seen a female in a while. When they get to Earth, they are more excited than a schoolboy on prom night. Shore leave. Bam. Hybrids. Wow. Okay. Uncle Dale at his power stash. I don't see any purpose to it. Why try to mate a cheetah with a lizard? On the other hand, if you wanted more intelligent cheetahs that could be made into a fighting force, CRISPR-style genetic manipulation is one way to do that. But if they are trying to make humans less dangerous to galactic civilization, ain't working. Jade, the gorgeous one, she says there may not be any proof that there are alien hybrids or an alien hybridization program, but is there any proof that there isn't? Heather, a distraction from immortals or time travelers. Maybe they are one of the same. Final guest quote goes to Benjamin. He says, it's like Fight Club. You just broke the first rule. Boom. Just like that. I want to say a big thanks to Captain Shirk for getting all of our news together for the SOR Newswire. And, of course, all of you participating in the Thought of the Day. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Big thanks to Geraldine Orozco, John Sumple, and last but not least, Melinda Leslie, for coming on in for the Spiritual You, talking about Extraordinary, The Seeding. The documentary comes out in September. Make sure you check it on out. We're going to break that on down as it's released as well. Tomorrow night on the show, get ready. I know some of you will be fired up. SOR scientist Chris Cogswell, Chris George Zuger, the most hated man in ufology, Reality Paranormal coming on up as we get into everything from UFOs, hybrids, Bigfoot, paranormal, the science behind it. 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to each and every one of you tuning on in, at home, at work, in your cars, on social media, like Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, in our chat rooms on Facebook, the SOR Space Travelers Club, Spreaker, Revolution Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thanks for telling your friends, doing your part to make us bigger and better every single night. Because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. I will call you and talk with you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Good night.